Hello, welcome back to Code Jargon. In this video, we are going to look at the use of box components in Compose UI. In our previous videos, we looked at the use of layout components and we spoke about columns and rows. In this video, we are going to look at one of the elements in the layout groups, that's the box components. We've also talked about the use of modifiers to customize our components, which we use text components to display a message on the screen, and then use modifier to change the background color, and then also do a lot of styling to our text component. When we talk about the box component, it's a component that allows its child elements to stack on each other or on top of each other. For example, if we have a box component and then we have text component inside the box component, it means that the text will cover or will be inside the box component, and if we add another text to the box component again, it means that we have two elements inside the box component. Then the two texts are going to be on top of each other. It means that the last one is going to be on top of the first one, which is very difficult for us to read. So we are going to look at a situation whereby two elements in a box component are on top, or the last one is on top of the first one. So we call our box component, and then we open the bracket, then we add our modifiers to it. So modifier dot fill, so let's give it a width, fill width, and then let's give it a background color so that we can see the size of our box. Let's give it red, and then let's give it a height. So a height of, let's say, 150 dp. Okay, so let me close the height. Now let's run and see our box component. So whilst we are waiting for the app to run, you can also start adding the text to it. And in this video, first we are going to add two text components to our box layout or box component here. So let's see the output of this box. Now this is the size of the box. So we are going to place two text components inside this box. So we are going to type test, then we have test equal first component, and then we are going to have another text, then we have text, so the second component. Okay, so now let's run our code and then see the output. Okay, now it's ready. Yes, and as I explained it earlier, using a box component, it allows each element to be on top of each other. So it means that now we have the first component here, okay, and then we have the second component here, and the second one is on top of the first one. Okay, so when you are using a box component, it means that there is no way that you are going to arrange the layout vertically or horizontally. But let's look at the reason why you need to use box component in writing your code or designing your app. For example, we are having let's say we are having image, and then we want to display a text on top of the image. That one would be a perfect example for us to use the box component, because you don't want the image or the text to be below the image or under the image, but rather want the text to be on top of the image. It means that with this one we can use image here, and then the arrangement of the box is the first one will be at the bottom, and then the last one will be at the top. So if you are going to use image, it means that the image here should be the first, and the text that we want it to be on top of the bottom, on top of the image, should be at the bottom. Okay, and also we can have nested box. Okay, so now let's have another box. Okay, so modifiers, then let's specify the width to be, let's say 250 dp, and then the height will be 100, so that we can see it clearly. You can see it clearly here. So now let's give it a background color green. Okay, green. Then let's run this one. So now we have a nested boxes here. Okay, and we can see that we didn't add open and then closing brackets here, or we didn't add anybody to it. It means that we are not going to add any elements to this box. If you want to add an element to this box, then you have to give it a body. Yes. Okay, so now let's wait for our output. Yes, and now you can see that there's a box inside another box. So the first box becomes the parent box, and then the last or the second box becomes the child box. Okay, so when this box is inside it, we can control the position. So we can control the content, how to position the content inside a box. So we can do that by, at the end of the modifier, we bring comma, then we type content alignment. Okay, then we type A, then wait for the IntelliSense to pop up the other options that we have. We can center our box. So it means that any child inside this box should be centered. It should be at the center of the parent box. Okay, so with this you can then run it, and then you will see that the green box will move to the center of the red box. Okay, so that's how we can position, or we are positioning the child elements in a box component. So let's wait for the output. Yes, now you can see that at first we were having the green box at the beginning of the red box, but with the help of content alignment we were able to center the green box. Okay, so we can also have an element inside the nested one. Okay, so we can have a text, and then we can give it a message, welcome to code jogging. Okay, Then let's run it. So we can also apply changes or the positioning of the content inside the nested one. So this one, we want to center it to the alignment positioning. So we can then make it button end. So we just want the text to be the button here, and then we want it to move to the end. So let's run it and then see the output. We can have as many as we want, as far as we are okay with the boxes we are going to use. Okay. Okay, so let's wait for the output, and then we look at one thing we can also use the box layout or box component to achieve. Yes, so now you can see that the text, it has moved to the end here. Okay, and then we've used button end. Okay, so yeah, so now what we are going to do is to make our box, parent box, or let's say the child box, or one of the boxes here, scrollable. So let's have a text inside it. Let me remove this one, and then let's duplicate this text so that we can make it see a lot of text here. Okay, so now let's look at how we are going to display the text. You realize that some of the text won't be showing. Okay, so let's see your output. Yes, now let's check how many welcomes that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a lot of welcomes, but we are now seeing 1, 2, 3. It means that some of the text here are not showing. With the help of the scroll, we can make our box scrollable. So we add remember, and I believe we've looked at how to use the remember scroll states in the column component. Okay, so now let's run our code again, and with this one line of code, we should be able to scroll to the button of our box component here. So let's run it and then see the output. Okay, now let's see the output, and then okay, so now let's try and see if we can make our text scrollable. Yes, now we've realized that we can now scroll through our text box here because we added this function to it. Okay, so the same thing, if you want to allow our user to scroll here horizontally, we can also use the horizontal scroll to achieve that. Okay, so now let's look at some of the example that we think, or I think we can use the box to achieve. If you look at the social media platform, for example Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or a lot of social media platforms, when you check their stories that they show in the feeds, you realize that the video or the image will rather be the background, and then the text will be on top of the image or the video, where they will show the account name and then the time the video was posted. And if they will add follow or like or anything to it, you can. In Compose UI, you can use the box layout to achieve it. And if we are comparing the Compose UI to the XML, then the Compose UI, that the box in the Compose UI becomes a relative layout, which allows it element or chart element to be stacked on top of each other. Okay, so that these are some of the scenarios you can use box components to achieve. Okay. So in our next video, we'll be looking at the use of the image, so that when we are done, we will look at how to use box and then the image and then the text that we've learned previously to achieve a simple UI, or to design a feed. Okay, so these are some of the things you've been doing, and we are hoping that by the end of this video you'll be okay with the use of Compose UI to design your Android apps. So that's what we are supposed to learn in this video. In case you have any comments, you can, or any questions to ask, or how you want us to run this channel, you can leave it at the comment section, or you can send us a mail and then we respond to it as soon as we receive it. See you in our next video. Bye bye.